Every day, thousands of people cross the Atlantic in exactly the same way. But while some people are wedged into a narrow plain sea, thousands of feet below you, some travellers are doing it differently. What most people don't realise is that this slower, more comfortable way of crossing the ocean doesn't cost more than flying. In fact, for about the same price as an economy flight, you could spend 7 full days travelling across the Atlantic, not just being transported, but actually travelling. I work on cruise ships, and from the inside, it's clear travellers have been pushed into believing that fast equals better. But when it comes to crossing the Atlantic, there's still one place where travel feels like travel, and it's the Queen Mary 2. The benefits go way beyond what you'd expect, and once you understand how it works, you might never want to fly that route again. When people think about getting between the US and Europe, the first and often only option they consider is flying. It's fast, relatively cheap, efficient, but also stressful, cramped, and sometimes miserable. What most travellers don't know is that the Queen Mary 2, the world's last true ocean liner, still offers regular crossings between New York and Southampton. And when you look at the numbers, it's not some luxury fantasy. It's practical, it's accessible, and it completely changes the experience. A standard inside cabin on a transatlantic crossing often costs around £500 to £600 per person. That's around $650 to $750. A basic economy flight across the Atlantic is usually somewhere in the same ballpark, except when you fly, you're paying for a seat and a tiny meal tray. But when you're sailing, you're paying for your accommodation, your meals, your entertainment, and the rare chance to actually experience the ocean. For the same money, you're not rushing between airports, you're living a week at sea. Now, I would say it's more than just a room. When you book a basic cabin on a ship, you might expect 4 walls and a bed. But what you actually get is something closer to a real hotel room, your own steward to keep it fresh twice a day, a private bathroom, comfortable beds, and space to move. The ship itself becomes your playground. Walk the open decks, relax in lounges, visit the planetarium, and find a quiet seat by a window with endless ocean views. It's not just better than flying, it's a different way of thinking about what travel could feel like. There's space to move, there's real food, real rest, and real scenery. Instead of watching a countdown to arrival on that tiny plane screen, you kind of settle into a rhythm that feels like an actual journey, not just waiting for one to end. A lot of travellers love the idea of visiting multiple cities on a cruise. This isn't that. On a transatlantic crossing, the Atlantic itself is the destination. You wake up to the vastness of the ocean every single day. The endless horizon becomes, I suppose, part of the experience in your morning routine. It's powerful, shifting, sometimes soothing, but it can sometimes be a little bit wild. One of the most practical but least advertised advantages of crossing by ship is that you avoid jet lag almost entirely. Instead of forcing your body to jump 5 or 6 hours ahead in one flight, the Queen Mary 2 adjusts the clocks gradually, about 1 hour each day, normally midday, so you barely notice the change. Now, this ship is designed to handle real oceans. The Queen Mary 2 isn't just a cruise ship doing a longer route. She's an ocean liner, and the world's last one. It's purpose-built to cross the Atlantic in all seasons. Most cruise ships, however, are designed for calm, Caribbean-type waters. The Queen Mary 2 is built for those storms. The hull is deeper, the structure is stronger, and important venues like dining rooms and the theatre are placed low and towards the centre to reduce movement during those rough seas. Is there still movement though? Yeah, you're gonna feel it. You're on a ship, it's the Atlantic. But it's steady, it's a deliberate motion that most people will adjust to within a day or two. Another little known perk, you can actually bring your dog or cat with you. The Queen Mary 2 has full kennel facilities on board, staffed with proper carers. Pets have their own deck space to walk and play. However, it's not cheap and the spaces definitely book up early. But if you're relocating or travelling long term, it's an incredible option that almost no other ship or airline can match. If you've flown recently, you know the drill. Weighing bags, paying for extra luggage, squeezing everything into those carry-ons. Crossing by ship is different. Your bags are checked in and delivered to your cabin. There's no stressful weight limit, no fights over those liquids, no tiny overhead compartments. You can pack properly, you can travel properly. It's a small freedom, but one that makes the journey start on a much calmer note. Every meal feels kind of like a reminder that you're a guest and not just cargo. You can eat casually in the buffet, or there's options to dress up for a classic multi-course dinner. You can snack, linger over meals, or even order room service at no extra cost, which is a game changer. The quality of food on board the Queen Mary 2 is a world away from the airline catering that you're going to get. Because there are no ports to visit, the ship leans heavily into the onboard entertainment. The QM2 has the only planetarium at sea. There's lectures by historians, authors and explorers, live music, game shows and trivia contests. There's full-scale theatre productions every evening. You're not stuck on board, you're living in a floating resort that's genuinely designed to make the journey itself rich and interesting. Yes, the Queen Mary 2 keeps some traditional cruise dress codes, but it is often more flexible than you'd first think. During the day, casual clothing is fine. In the evenings, if you do want to dine in the main dining rooms or attend formal events, smart clothing is encouraged. But if you are going to prefer a low-key night, the buffet in the pub do offer a lot more relaxed options. And you might actually enjoy the chance to dress up a little and lean into the atmosphere, especially for a night or two. The Queen Mary 2 isn't flashy. She's not packed with water slides, go-kart tracks, or roller coasters. Instead, the ship is classic. It feels solid, elegant, and built with a sense of purpose. You will feel the ship move, especially mid-Atlantic crossing, but it's a steady motion. It's not a chaotic one. If you're prone to seasickness, a midship, lower deck cabin makes a big difference, so I definitely recommend those. And even during storms, the QM2's design helps maintain stability far better than any other regular cruise ship. Fly across the Atlantic and you might remember the destination, but you're 100% going to forget that journey. But if you're going to sail across the Atlantic, the journey itself becomes a story that you're going to carry with you. It's an experience. The ship becomes your world, and the days, you kind of settle into a rhythm. For the price of a basic flight, you can choose to spend a week travelling in comfort, eating real meals, seeing real shows, and moving through real space, not just enduring it. The Queen Mary 2 offers something most travellers has forgotten. The journey can be part of the adventure. It's not just transportation. And if you're curious about which cruises are actually worth your time, check out my video on the top 5 best cruises in 2025, right here.